Flick Maze, a new game from Game Maker and Artipia Games that is hitting Essen this year. Make sure to check it out. Make sure to get a copy because I'm predicting that it's going to be out of the shelves really fast. It's a fun, unique, extremely simple but highly enjoyable game. I'm going to demonstrate how the game plays and show you the different modes. It has a lot of modes, the solo mode as well, make some flicking. I'm also going to upload a separate video with a full session, a solo session, so I can see myself shooting some shots and trying to gather some points out of the solo mode. The game, the system I should say, because it's a system, is really unique. It uses 3D printed high quality plastics in order to make a modular tracks. You're trying to flick discs either with your hands flicking or using the launcher, which uses rubber bands, trying to get the disc in the goal post, which is just like I would say a pothole or something like that. So when you do that, you score points. You can do real time or you can do turn-based. So there are so many options with this game. You can even combine different copies of the game so you can have even longer tracks, etc. Not that it's needed, it's fully functional for 1 to 4 players, but I'm sure like with most of these games, people get excited, so it's always good to have more of a good game and more possibilities. So the idea is very simple. It's a game that can be enjoyed together with a mixed group. I would say both adults and kids, but also adults who are kids, who like to play kids game or enjoy flicking games in general. This is not a kids game, so don't be fooled by the vivid colors. It's a flicking game. It can be enjoyed by kids and adults, but it's a game like Pitch Car, which I have next to me, that it's I think it's exactly in that target group, players both of gamers of any origin and style who prefer and like flicking games. They will love it. What is unique about this game? First of all, the combinations are endless. You can have different combinations with modular tracks. You can try different things. You can make long tracks, short tracks, even try it as a solo. I didn't expect that this game would have a solo, so it really caught me by surprise, and I have to admit that I really enjoyed it because you're trying to make a high score, but with a nice progressive way of gathering, flicking all the discs and gathering victory points, stars, if you manage to score them on the early rounds, or lower number of points if you score them at the latest portion of the game. So it's really skillful, fun, highly enjoyable, very addictive, very fast, very easy to get behind and understand and get it on the table, and very durable. Having little kids myself, I found such games that are very sensitive because they can break, they can damage, they can scratch, whatever. This I tasted it by giving it to my son, my 6-year-old son, and he dropped it, he bumped it, he tried to disengage the tracks. Nothing happened. This is really durable, so I'm really liking the fact that you can play it with small kids and nothing can happen to the game because you want to have it there moving forward because it's a great game. So join me at the table. I'll show you how the game plays. I'll make some I'll demonstrate some flicking. I'm going to also, I think, include a slow motion shot that I managed to pull it right. So I'll show you how the game works in practice, describe the different modes, and come back at the end of this video for the final wrap up. So let's see how the game plays and what Flick Maze is all about. Okay, so let's see how Flick Maze works. First of all, let's familiarize ourselves with the components. We have different components that can be used to play the different modes of the game. You have 2 launch pieces, one of bronze color and one in black. Be aware of the step because this is where your launching device stops when you're using the launcher. Speaking of launchers, you have 2, one for each of the colors, one black and one bronze. Or gold, whatever. Then these are pre-assembled with rubber band, but of course you can add other rubber band if this is destroyed or whatever, which I don't see happening, but over the course of time you never know. Then you have 3 block pieces, which are those for closing the edges of a track and are orange in color. You have straight lines, the green pieces, like this, and again be aware of the walls on sideways, which prevent the discs from going over the track, and this is really nice. You have 4 acute curve pieces and 4 obtuse curve pieces, the red ones and the blue ones, 4 of each. Same goes for the straight lines, which you have 4. And then you have also various discs, 2 for each of the colors when you play a 4-player game, or you use all of them when you play solo, depending on the mode again. And of course you have the cross-section piece, which helps combine various pieces together, or even combine different copies of the game board, the game box, if you're using 2 or 3 or 4 copies for huge tracks. So what's the overview? Flick Maze is a dexterity game played over a series of rounds. In each round, all players flick their discs into a modular track, racing to score goals. The player who first wins a predetermined number of rounds is the winner. Before you start the game, you have to first choose if you're playing a real-time or a turn-based game. If you like stress and if you want to compete on a real-time, then go for the first option. If you want more calculated and more stress-free flickering, then go for the turn-based game. In any case, both of them are interesting and you should both try them. Second, assemble the track. There are recommended tracks that you'll find in the rulebook, but you are also free to design your own tracks as you see fit. For games with novice and experienced players playing together, you should choose from uneven circuit tracks, and novice players should play on the shorter circuits. Then, once you have selected if you're playing with the real mode or the turn-based mode and the specified recommended track or your own, you go with which mode you're going to play. There are different modes to play Flick Maze, and I'm going to go through all of them. But in each of those, the goal is the same. You have to score the predetermined number of rounds, score more and win in a predetermined number of rounds than your opponents. Then you also decide as a next step which flicking style are you going to use. You can either use flicking by hand, almost scored, or you can use the launchers. And it is recommended that all players do the same, unless you're playing in a mixed group with experienced and non-experienced gamers, and you can allow that everyone selects their own choice respectively. In any case, according to the rules, that was close as well, it's good to decide which mode you're flicking, and all players abide by the same mode, flicking style essentially. Finally, the fifth step is you agree on the number of rounds to play that will determine the winner. So, scoring a goal. Players flick their discs from the launching piece, which is this one or that one, trying to score goals with single shots. So I have one shot, it's not one shot for the game, but in my turn, with one shot, I'm trying to score a goal. How do you score a goal? The player scores a goal if their disc is inside the goal piece, which is this one. There's a bump here, as you can see, and maybe for better visibility, I'm going to take it out and show it to you up close. There you go, you see. So the disc needs to be inside this area so that it is considered a goal. Let me put it back together. There are situations that your disc may go outside the track, not usual, but it could happen, then you're not scoring obviously. Or if it is something like that, that's still a goal. You don't have to have like a clean insert in the disc so that you win. But if you have something like that, it's of course outside. It depends on the location, so this is considered a goal, for example. And it goes without saying that everything outside of this area is a miss. How you win the game? You win a round by scoring goals as described in each of the game modes respectively. The player who won the predetermined number of rounds is the winner. So, let's see the real-time game. For 2 to 4 players, you can use this mode, but be aware that if you're playing 3 or more players, you need a second copy for the real-time version. But if you're playing 2 players, a copy is enough for the real-time version. In each round, one player gives a signal for the beginning, and everyone plays simultaneously from their side, trying to score a goal. If a disc gets flicked away from the playing area, outside of the table or surface or whatever, everyone stops playing until that disc is returned to the starting location. So you can imagine that if I was playing a real time with an opponent, I would use this side for myself, and this side would extend in a similar configuration towards my opponent, and they would be using their launching piece respectively. But I can even do that with the remaining pieces if I'm playing a two-player game. So I can go on the opposite side and use exactly the same configuration. That's enough. I have 2 reds, 2 greens, 2 blues, so I can use it for 2 players. If I need to play real time with 3 or 4 players, I need a second copy of the box. Now, even in the real time, you have 2 modes. You have the 1 goal mode and the 2 goals mode, or the indirect goal mode. Actually, there are 3. The 1 goal mode, each player gets 1 disc of a chosen color. So I decide which color I want to play with, and I get 1 disc, and I try to score a goal with my disc in order to win the round. So I will be flicking my disc, trying to score and win the game. Whoa! That was a good demonstration. So that's the 1 goal mode. The 2 goals mode, each player takes both discs of their color. So you see I have 2 gray ones, and I have to continue playing with the second disc until I score both discs to win the round. Keep in mind you have to try to score with each of your discs, and to win the round both of your discs must be in the goal piece in order to win the game. So if it happens that a disc gets knocked off the goal piece circle so that it no longer scores a goal, it must be returned to the respective player's launch piece here, and you should try to continue to score with your second one together with your first one. The last and third mode for real time is the indirect goal mode. Each player gets again 2 discs of different colors. So let's say I get a gray and a black. Then one is my flick disc and one is my goal disc. You place your flick disc on the launch piece. So let's say the gray one is my flick disc. And I place the goal disc on the second piece connection. That would be here. Okay. And what I'm trying to do to win the round is I must score a goal with my goal disc, black in this case, by pushing it with my flicking disc so that it reaches the goal post. After each flick, you may place your goal disc on a piece connection behind the spot it was. Also, if it got flicked away from the track, you return to the starting position. So essentially it's like playing snooker. I'm trying to score by flicking the flick disc to touch and hit the goal disc, and this goes into the post, and then I win the game. These are the modes for the real-time game. Now you have also the turn-based game, which can be for 1 to 4 players, both for solo and multiplayer, and you only need a copy for those unless you want different tracks with even huger and longer areas to flick, but still it's enough for the core game for 1 to 4 players. You have the multiplayer mode, where you choose one starting player and players one after the other in clockwise direction take turns by placing their disc on the launch piece and then flick it and removing it from the track afterwards, even if they scored a goal. That means that I have 1 chance, so I'm flicking. Okay, I didn't score, I remove it, then it's the next player's turn. They do the same, they remove it until someone scores a goal. The round ends after each player has taken a turn. Exactly 1 player scored a goal, and that's the end of the round. The player is the winner of the round, and if more than 1 player scored the goal, they take another turn, while the rest who did not score are out of the round. Otherwise, if no player scored the goal, they all have another turn until someone wins the game. So this is a multiplayer game, the turn-based one. You also have the solo mode, and I'm really looking forward to show you the solo mode as well. In this mode you get all 8 discs at your disposal, so both colors of each, both pieces of each of the 4 colors go into your inventory. The game is played over 5 rounds specifically. You flick one of your discs trying to score a goal and remove it from the track afterwards, similarly like the multiplayer. You do the same with your next disc until you have used them all, and when the round ends, every disc with which you scored a goal gets removed from the game and gets placed on the corresponding column of the corresponding table. I'm going to show you the table in a sec. The next round begins using the rest of your discs, and at the end of the 5th round, or as soon as all 8 discs have scored a goal, the game ends. Each disc on the scoring table gives you a number of stars depending on the column it is placed on. If it was the first round, the second, the third, the fourth, or the fifth round. You get less stars if you are scoring during the fifth round, and more stars if you're scoring during your first round. So you sum up the stars and check for your performance. If you scored 40 stars, that's a hit, you're an amazing flicker. 32 to 39 stars, you're excellent flicker. 24 to 31, you're a very good flicker. 16 to 23, good flicker. 8 to 15, decent flicker. And below 8, you are a rising flicker. So this is really, really cool. I'm just going to demonstrate you, but just a word of advice on the flicking style. For the finger option, if you're using your fingers to flick, players use their finger to flick their discs from any spot of the launch piece towards the track. This mode is recommended for shorter circuits. And if you're using the launcher piece, this one or that one, depending on the color of your choice, players use their launcher flick instrument to flick their discs from any spot of the launch piece towards the track, and the launcher must touch the lower part of the launch piece, and you pull the lever and release it to flick the disc. This mode is recommended for longer circuits. So there you have it. Let me show you the table. There it is. So if I use all of my 8 discs, and if for each disc I scored during the first round, I place it here. Then I leave those out and I just take my remaining discs for the second round. Of course, I get a chance to shoot them all, the available ones. So maybe I don't score anything at the third one, maybe I score 2 on the fourth one, and maybe just 1 on the fifth one. Then my total score will be calculated by adding 5 plus 5 plus 3 plus 2 plus 2 plus 1, and this will be my total, and I will get a ranking according to how well I did. So let me quickly demonstrate. So I think I'm going to start with the launcher. Oh, that was close. And then I remove it. The reason for that is I don't want to disrupt the next shot. Okay, this is out. That was close. Still I'm on the first round, I have to shoot them all. Nope. It's a miss, that was a close one, but not yet. Ah, yes! So this is placed there, so I already have 5 stars from the first round. Okay, that was denied. That's out of the game. And the 7th, still, that'll be good if I can score one more. No. So I still, oh, I think I used 2. So in this case, I would repeat, I would leave the one that I scored already from the first round, leave it there. And then I will take the 7 rest of the discs and continue with the second, and so on until I see my total. So there you have it. This is how you play Flick Maze. Wow, I loved it. My son loved it, my mates loved it, my whole family loved it. I can't emphasize how much fun you can have with this game. This is a phenomenal, extremely fun, extremely enjoyable toolkit, sandbox, whatever you want to call it, because it doesn't offer a straightforward game. You have different modes, you have the real-time and the turn-based, you have even under those type of modes, different ways of playing with a 1-goal shot, 2-goal shot, or progressive by flicking like snooker or whatever. You can have a team-based, you can have combining different boxes, you can have solo mode, come on. These games usually don't have solo, you just need to have desperately an opponent so that you can compare yourselves against themselves. This one you can play it solo, so this is a tremendous plus in my book. The fact that it's really, really vivid and beautiful colors and high quality plastics, etc. is a plus, because it looks really nice and it's like a magnet. It attracts kids, it attracts little ones. Everyone, you know, walking around the table will come and check what you're doing, what you're playing. So it is a magnet for looks. So that means immediately that you can, you know, get little kids and your son and your daughter and you know, your nephew or whatever, get them to show them. Get them on the table, because they're going to be impressed by the game. That's what I'm trying to say. So if you're trying to find games to play with your family this is a tremendous choice. The fact that it's really easy to assemble, disassemble, takes no time, absolutely, you do it really fast, and it's very durable, it's a plus. You don't mind if you drop it off the floor, if you bang it, if you try to, force to disconnect them or whatever, nothing happens to this game. I tried it all, not me, myself, my son did it, and it was really, really remarkable, the final result. Nothing happened to the game, and we're still playing it, and it's one of his favorite games so far. My little daughter, still, she's a bit younger, but she also enjoyed looking at it, at least because she's a baby girl so far. But I think this is a game that I'm going to easily throw it on the table, both for playing with my family, but also with playing with my gaming group. You can do tournaments, you can do skillful shots, you can do different, rankings, etc., and try different sorts of games and groups. So many possibilities with this game. I really enjoyed it, so I highly, highly recommend it. It's going to be released during Essen this year. It's going to be available, I suspect, from the website of the company that they make it, gamemaker.eu and Artipia Games. Go check it out fast, because I predict that it's going to run out of the shelves really, really soon. It plays well, and it's very easy to demonstrate how good and addictive this game is. So I don't think anyone trying the game will pass it or not want to add it to his or her collection. So there you have it. This is Flickmate.